Coming up on this edition of Flash Talk, brought to you by Brian Heating and Cooling, we sit down with head football coach Kenni Burns to talk about the MAC opener against Miami. Devin Nicholson, our graduate school linebacker, talks about his journey to Kent State and his leadership on the team. Dr. Talea Drummer-Ferrell talks mental health, and we take a look at the induction ceremony for the 2023 class of the Varsity K Hall of Fame. We take a look around Kent State athletics, then wrap things up with a talk with our head volleyball coach, Haley Eckerman. That's all coming up in a flash. And welcome into Flash Talk. We're live from the GFTV studios and brought to you by Brian Heating and Cooling. Dan Griffin alongside head football coach Kenni Burns. And Coach, it was a lengthy trip out to the West Coast. Not the result we wanted, but a lot of positives coming out from the game against the Bulldogs. Loved seeing Xavier Williams get back kind of into the groove of things.
Yeah, it wasn't the result we wanted, but we learn from every game we play, and we'll learn from this one. But you definitely saw X take another step forward, and I think our offense as a whole moved in the right direction for sure. I think you saw Mike throw to more guys and starting to get a rhythm a little bit. Now we just need to finish drives on offense. But it was good to see X get out there and look like X again.
Yeah, for sure. He had 55 yards and a touchdown. First real big action since 2021. So great to see him back in the swing of things. And Andrew Glass continues to be a mark of consistency in the kicking game. Again, nails from 40-plus yards out.
Yeah, he hit a big one there, and I think you're seeing Mr. Glass get better every week as well. You know, I think he's still working on the kickoffs, making sure they go where we want them to go. But he's definitely a guy that we trust and that's doing a good job.
Now, you work personally with the kickers. What is that mindset and then mentality to just be ready on a moment's notice and continue with that rhythm and consistency like he has?
Yeah, I wouldn't say work along with them, but I kind of listen to what they need, and more so, I think they know more about the kicking game than I do, but they do a great job, and it's one of those positions that are very unique. I think from a standpoint of they think a little bit differently about the game than a normal football player. But what I love about all those guys is their competitive edge. They compete at their job with each other, not against each other, and try to make each other better each day, and that's what's cool to see about that whole group as a whole.
The Miami Redhawks come to town, but it's nice to get some home cooking and look forward to conference play.
Yeah, I'm excited about the MAC, being back in the MAC. You know, I was back in it in 2017, Western Michigan, and familiar with a lot of the teams we're going to play now, which is great. And it's going to be exciting to be back in the MAC for sure. And then Miami's a really good football team, coming off a win against Delaware State, but also beating Cincinnati. You can see what Chuck has built there, which is a really good, gritty type team, that plays hard and led by their quarterback, and we'll have a great challenge. But it's great being at Dick Stadium and having our student body background here. They did a great job in the first game, and I know they're going to be there loud and proud, and it should be a great college atmosphere. Yeah,
Parents and Family Weekend, tickets available at ksutix.com to come and pack Dick Stadium. You mentioned the challenge ahead with Miami. That's been one of the, for lack of a better word, consistently good teams in the MAC, and that's a testament to Coach Martin. But just briefly, when you've kind of been able to keep an eye on the film a little bit, what do they do well? We'll start on the offense.
Yeah, they put the ball where it's supposed to be. I think that's part of offensive football. When you're throwing the ball, putting it in the places that the defense is giving you, and their quarterback does a great job with that, of just putting it where it's supposed to. And then their playmakers, when they get the ball, they do something with it. They make big plays, they make explosive plays, and we've got to do a good job of swarming to the ball, of tackling the ball, of giving them different looks and confusing them a little bit. But just a really good offense and a high-powered offense that they do a good job of.
Well, let's just kind of talk about the message going into the MAC play. I know you guys say this is championship week, this is Miami week, but now does the message get a little bit stronger that these games may mean a little bit more because it is conference play?
No. It does not. Each week is its own individual week. I think that it breaks up the season for us. It gives us a thing to focus on that week. We talk about we embrace our past and create our future. We learn from each game we play, but we don't look any forward than the game we're playing this week, and that's all we're doing. It's a very big week. It's Miami of Ohio championship week. Our guys love that approach, and we're just going to find a way to get better this week and find a way to beat Miami.
Coach, just lastly, just another kind of a push to what have you guys kind of learn from the non-conference? So you can kind of tell the fans as we turn our attention to another home game.
Yeah, I think we got to change our mindset about non-conference. That's going to be my biggest thing going into the next year. And when we get back to this about our team, I think that's a big picture thing. I think we've got to go into these games expecting to win. Over my career, I've won a lot of those games, and the mindset was very different than what I saw this first 4 games. I think our guys gave valiant effort, and we've got better as a football program. That you'll see that as we keep playing each game and getting into MAC play. But we've got to find a way to win those games and expect to win those games. And I think that's the biggest message to our football team. But a lot of growth over the last 4 games. I think we know who our football team is from a coaching staff standpoint, and we just got to keep finding ways to grow and get better.
Miami of Ohio, 2:30 inside Dick Stadium. Coach Burns, thanks as always for a moment of your time.
Yeah, I appreciate having me on, and go Flashes, Kent Grit.
More Flash Talk brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling coming up right after this. Welcome back to Flash Talk brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling. Dan Griffin alongside linebacker Devin Nicholson, kind enough to join us. And Devin, thank you very much for a few moments of your time here today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you started your collegiate career with the Missouri Tigers, and now you find your way as a grad transfer to Kent. So just talk a little bit about that process and how you ended up finding yourself being a Golden Flash.
Yeah, it's been a very different journey, going from one school to another. I was recruited by Kent State out of high school with Sean Lewis and Coach Farrell and those guys. So I had a little bit of a background with Kent State. It wasn't too far from home, but it also wasn't too close to home. So I came, took my visit here, and I loved it ever since.
Yeah, you're from the Detroit area, so you got a little bit of about a 3-hour buffer or so away from home, but still, like you said, close enough, especially in the MAC, for the family to come and visit. But as one of the veteran guys who's played a lot of football, played a lot of high-level football, what's been kind of your message or role as a leader, whether it be vocally or by example, to this team this year?
Yeah, one of the most important things that I've picked up from one of the coaches who wasn't even necessarily my coach in college was that leadership has no age. And that kind of stuck with me because I was a sophomore at that time, and it kind of gave me that ability to be like, and think like, okay, yeah, you can lead from any age, Never feel like you can't hold guys accountable if they're not doing the right thing. So I like to go by that, whether it's a freshman or a senior, like we're all in it for the same goal, so just getting on the same page.
When you're leading the defense as one of the linebackers, how much is it studying a certain opponent and just your overall football IQ to whether it's seeing formations or tendencies where you can bark out signals or you've got a pretty good idea what's coming on that play?
Yeah, I feel like film study is very vital in your preparation to playing these games, In film, you'll see like a lot of the stuff that they'll actually do in the game. Of course, it's a few outliers, that you might not necessarily see on film, but they might throw at you.
Now, I'll talk with a number of student athletes. They've gone to other means to prepare. Do you find yourself playing Madden or any kind of video games and seeing if that's as real life as the thing itself to try to see some tendencies?
I mean, some people can pick up stuff from Madden. I like to play video games. I'm not like a huge gamer, especially during season, but yeah.
So, I mean, it is real life almost real life for a reason, and you can kind of see how it can be a training tool, but something tells me that watching the TV sport is probably the better way to kind of get the tendencies on the opponent. Now, away from the gridiron, what do you study and what do you like to do with your time as you try to kind of divorce yourself from the grind of a season?
Yeah, I majored in communication before transferring here, then changed to professional studies, and I like real estate and things of that nature.
Now, do you plan on setting up shop back home in Detroit, or have you found during your travels as a college football player that I like this area of the country? I'm going to move. I got eyes to move here when my playing career is done.
I feel like I'm pretty open to any area.
Now, away from the game, you said you're not much of a gamer. So are you just football 24/7 then until the season's done? Like, what does Devin Nicholson do to kind of unwind a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I like to watch film a lot, especially during the season. Like that's my fun outside of sports during the season. But I do play the game like outside of the season.
Now, are you dragging guys in with you and using the film as a teaching moment to some of the other guys, or is that your time to kind of zone in and just be one and get your mind right for the week?
Yeah, I feel like it has its time. Like during free time, you can bring guys along. You know, the more guys that you bring, the better your football team can be.
Well, best of luck, Devin, the rest of the season. It's been a lot of fun watching you start your Golden Flashes career, and let's get after it against Miami here this week.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Let's take a look at what's going on around Kent State Athletics, brought to you by KSUTix.com. Our volleyball team makes the short trip to the school down the road for a 2-game set on Thursday and Friday. Our soccer team hosts Eastern Michigan starting at 7 p.m. It's rock and roll night inside of Dick Stadium, with Thundersticks being given away to our fans. On Saturday, our field hockey team takes the trip out to Muncie to take on the Cardinals. That's a noon face-off against Ball State. And at 2:30, our football team kicks off Mid-American Conference play with Miami Redhawks. It's Parents and Family Weekend, High School Band Weekend. Be sure to wear your Kent State blue for a Navy out, and we'll be giving away Kent Grit sunglasses. And our busy weekend wraps up with our soccer team back in action, taking a trip out to Oxford to take on the Miami Redhawks. For Kent State tickets, events, and group ticket information, visit KSUTix.com. Follow your Golden Flashes at Kent State Athletics on Facebook, X, and Instagram. We sit down with Dr. Talea Drummer-Ferrell, our Dean of Students, to talk mental health awareness next on Flashtalk, brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling. Welcome back inside the GFTV studios. It's Flashtalk. We're brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling. Dan Griffin alongside Dr. Talea Drummer-Ferrell, AVP and Dean of Students, but Dr. D for short, and we're talking a little mental health awareness, because we always hear that sports, especially with student athletes, it's a mental and physical game. We always hear about the physical part of it. It's now the time to bring awareness to the mental side of sports and mental well-being.
It's interesting, especially we're talking about our student athletes, because we preach mental toughness, right? They have to go out there. They have to be resilient. They have to be able to get back out there and pivot after that hit, after that miss, right? And yet still, we really need to think about the way that they have to think about their own mental health and well-being holistically. You know, student athletes are under a lot of different pressures. And so this conversation around perfectionism, around them being perfect on and off the court, off the field, off of wherever their athletic area is something that can give a different narrative of what they need to work on. So I'm glad we're having this conversation.
Absolutely. So what if a student athlete's like, I need to kind of just do a mental health check, or where can they go? What resources are available for our student athletes?
Well, the good thing is, one, we actually have an embedded counselor in intercollegiate athletics. They're one of 2 areas that actually have that. You know, we noticed nationally there were a lot of conversations around this, and having more intentional resources right there. Like you said, they have to go to practice, they have to go to training, they have to get treatment, they have to meet with their coaches, right? And then that's not including all their academic things. So bringing those resources in-house is helpful. So we do have Tilly, who is here in the department, which is a beautiful thing that the university takes care of. But then also we have 3 counseling centers on campus, and most people don't know that. So we have Counseling Psychological Services, which is in Van Campen. You have the Psych Clinic, which is in Kent Hall. And then you also have the Counseling Center in Whitehall. So we do have 3 options for that. The other thing is we actually have an after-hours line. A lot of people don't realize that is, you know, if everything doesn't happen between 8 and 5, right? And so if they're having a challenge and it's like 9 o'clock at night and I just need somebody to talk to, they can actually call CAPS and then dial 3 when the prompt comes on, and they'll get connected with a clinician who will support them in that moment.
Coming back from an injury, there's a mental block there that sometimes can be, man, I used to be able to do this. Right. I've got to be able to trust my body to do it again, and I can't get over that mental hurdle. There's so many things that can be worked on and talked through, and just knowing that somebody's there to offer that support.
Oh, yeah. And it's the short term and the long term, right? So some of our student athletes, like you mentioned, it's situational, right? It's in the moment. It's short term. We know they'll get through it. But then some may be actually experiencing different traumas at home, right? Their lives are not in this bubble here at Kent State. And so being very intentional about taking care of that, it could be something as direct as one-on-one counseling, or something that is on their own, like meditation, Koru. You know, we offer that in Kent State of Wellbeing. And so knowing that you have options and that there's an array of opportunities to engage in that helps to demystify a lot of those resources.
Well, October, as we know, is Mental Health Awareness Month. But Dr. D, thank you for kind of shedding the light on what is going on all year round for our Kent State student athletes when it comes to mental health.
Yes, you're welcome.
Dr. D, talking a little mental health with us here on Flash Talk. We take a look at our Hall of Fame class coming up next here on Flash Talk, brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling.
It's my pleasure to welcome you to the 44th Varsity K Hall of Fame induction ceremony and banquet.
Tonight, we will induct some of our most outstanding Golden Flashes into the Varsity K Hall of Fame, as well as honor others for their service to Kent State athletics.
He was a familiar face to Golden Flash athletes, coaches, and fans. He was a fixture at Kent State University sporting events and was a passionate fan of Kent State athletics.
I dedicate this award to the entire Kent State community. Your support and shared love for sports have made my journey here truly special.
Coach Devine gave us a chance to be the best we could be on the playing field, but most importantly, provided encouragement and confidence to follow our dreams in life.
I remember one of our first weeks of practice, Coach Birkbeck talking to the freshman class. He said we were going to win the MAC, fellas. It's what we do.
Kent State will always hold a special place in my heart, aside from the opportunities it gave me with wrestling and the awesome friendships along the way.
This is an honor I never dreamed possible, and a moment not just about recognizing my personal achievements, but a moment that is a testament to the incredible journey of teamwork, dedication, and unwavering support.
I can trace every opportunity and every success that I've had in my life through this place and the time that I spent here.
Also, thanks to my teammates, I made so many wonderful memories here.
You guys made a decision tonight about selecting me here that's going to last forever with my family.
Give honor to God for this prestige opportunity, because Him leading my life has helped me to be a leader for those around me.
Anyone that has known me over my 21 years of being here at Kent State, I want to thank you all for your help and for your support.
I do accept this great honor with gratitude. I will always be a Flash forever, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
It's a wonderful feeling to be a KSU Hall of Famer. I'm honored, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. Go Flashes.
Welcome back inside the GFTV studios. Dan Griffin alongside head volleyball coach Haley Eckerman. And Coach, not the results that you wanted, but some good energy as we started a MAC play at home against Buffalo.
Yeah, you know, Buffalo's a really good team. I think they're all either seniors or fifth years, except for one or two kids. Their setter was a junior. I think their libero was a freshman. Other than that, they should be that good, especially when you've got a middle who touches probably 11 foot. It was hard to stop her, and it showed in her numbers. But we had really good moments, and I think we got to continue to piece those together. And the plus side is it's the beginning of conference, so we still have room to grow. And the other plus side is the conference kind of was a mess this weekend. You know, some teams that you thought were going to win didn't. School down the road beat Ohio. They went 1-1. Bowling Green lost to NIU one night. So it's just kind of the way the conference works. So it gives us a little bit of wiggle room and some time to keep growing.
Well, it also shows you just how evenly matched this Mid-American Conference is, that you can expect chaos and kind of thrive in that.
Yes. Yeah. It allows us to, know going into a game that, like, if we give our best every single night, we have the potential to beat anybody.
Well, you got a compressed week here this week. Usually it's Friday, Saturday. This week it is that short trip to the school down the road on Thursday and Friday. And rivalry week. You really don't need to say much more to the team than that.
Yeah. Obviously, with us having 11 new people, it's getting them to understand the importance of the rivalry week. It's such a word, always a struggle with. But getting them to make sure that we're going in and not, having those emotions. And that we're playing a clean slate and treating it just like it's any other game, just understanding that there potentially could be some more emotions from fans and just the pride in the game for us.
Now, talk a little bit about what the Zips do. Obviously doing some things well if they were able to take one from the Bobcats, who have been a historically good team within the Mid-American Conference. Zips obviously doing some right things.
Yeah, I think everybody's starting to figure it out. Tyson's in his second year there as well. We kind of got in the same time, so he's getting his recruits in. And so for both of us, it's just trying to figure out and find the gaps and find the missing pieces, whether it's the recruiting side of it or the scouting side. So I think they're slowly but surely, I think, set by set, trying to figure it out just like we are.
Now, you mentioned 11 new players trying to emphasize the importance of a rivalry and really just kind of conference in general. Is there anything that you're doing maybe a little differently or especially to kind of drive home that yeah, every conference game means a lot. This one means a little bit more.
Yeah. Trying to get them to understand playing with a chip on their shoulder, kind of having that grit and that dog mentality, and understanding that we have to go out and represent Kent State, and it's not about themselves. We don't put their last name on a jersey for a reason. The only name on the jersey is Kent State or Golden Flash, and so getting them to understand that important piece of it.
Now, you mentioned some of the good things from Buffalo, and it was a good home energy within the MAC Center. So how do you build off of that, especially with this condensed week? You need almost that goldfish mentality.
Yeah. Biggest thing is just taking it kind of 1 point, 1 set at a time, and trying to be good for one set consistently over and over and over again, and trying to get that kind of more in their practice mindset as well. Volleyball and any sport is a game that you can't just turn a switch and kick it on, and it starts in the practice gym. And so trying to push them a little bit more to be really consistent and not up and down on that roller coaster in practice, so that it can turn around and show up in the game.
It is half the battle, because volleyball, it can be a momentum-driven sport to where you might not be able to flip it on and flip a switch really quick, but all of a sudden it can feel like that switch has been turned off on you. If a bounce goes here or there the wrong way, and all of a sudden you're looking up and just goes, what happened?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's been our struggle. We're at the point of we go on a run and we'll go 5, 6, 7, 8 points, but then we let a team come back 4 or 5 points. And we've got to learn how to stop that shorter, but still go on our runs. And I think that's been kind of the biggest emphasis for us as coaches this last couple weeks.
Well, it starts this Thursday with the Zips, and it is a condensed week, but you guys are used to that with some of the non-conference stuff that you've been through. Coach, thanks again for a few moments of your time, and best of luck as we keep rolling through conference play.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for this edition of Flash Talk, brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling. Join us next week when we take another deep dive into Kent State athletics. For all of us here inside the GMTV studios, this is Dan Griffin saying goodnight and go Flashes.